Okay, so yesterday I watched the movie that everyone's been talking about for some time now, The Triangle of Sadness, and it is so stupid, honestly. I was so disappointed how it didn't make any kind of social commentary on anything, basically. So I wish I was Lindsay Ellis or Harris from H Bomber Guy, and I could give you the thing bad, and here is why. But alas, I'm not them, and I have absolutely no energy to do such things. But I'm going to still offer my 2 cents because I can, and you cannot stop me. But the whole thing was advertised to me, at least by some people, as anti-capitalist, and I really fail to see anything even remotely anti-capitalist in this movie. Basically, what they're trying to say, it appears to me, is that whenever the power axis changes, the people are going to descend into tyranny. They're going to descend to authoritarianism. This woman who was a toilet manager or whatever the stupid title they came up with for her, she all of a sudden became needed by these people much more, and she possessed the skills necessary for their common survival. So she became the boss, and she didn't want to give up that privilege, even though at the end we are left with an open ending where we don't know whether she is going to commit murder in order to keep that power and continue that newfound lifestyle that they had established for themselves. That really is a terrible message. It's like they're saying, oh yeah, the proletarians are going to do the same stuff as capitalists did to us because that's the nature of men. I'm so tired of the story. It's such an old beat to death narrative. No, we're not like this. We're not going to want to control other people if the circumstances are such that we are able to provide for everyone. Now, of course, this is immediately the thing in the movie. There is scarcity. They're on an island. They don't know how to survive. The food is scarce, so they have to fight for their resources. But basically, it's just this one person, this one woman, who knows how to get the food, and she's the one doing that for everyone. But everyone else is just like idly not doing anything, apart from that guy who starts prostituting himself, which is such a stupid thing to show. Like, those rich people who were on the island together, they appeared like they were not even trying to learn anything apart from that donkey murder that they performed. And again, I like didn't understand why they needed to show us this donkey execution. Like, what was it supposed to convey? Like, they're learning, learning what? Learning how to beat someone to death with a stone. And I'm not saying it from any kind of animal rights position. I'm just saying it was a very awkward scene to watch. Like, how incapable they are was apparent from all the other scenes prior to that one. So we didn't need another example of how they are incapable and how they're not actually learning, even though it appears like they've been living on this island for at least several weeks or so. It's not like they're showing us, maybe it is a span of a few days, but it appears like it's been at least 2 weeks or so. Apart from that, the pacing of the movie is also very much convoluted. They spend 30 minutes or so showing us this relationship dynamic of these two characters, which is like, you could have shown this in 5 to 10 minutes. You didn't have to show us this very lengthy scenes of them sitting at a restaurant almost starting the scene and not actually doing that. We didn't need that casting footage where they showed us how the models were little monkeys and just like presenting themselves in a certain manner on command. Like, if they were trying to build mood, they didn't really need to show these very lengthy chunks of footage, which to me, they really did nothing. They just irritated me and they made me go like, why? What are you trying to communicate to me? And I understand the irony of the fact that there are conversations at the beginning of these two characters, a man and a woman, about how, the woman is more pragmatic in her approach. She understands she's a model, so her best bet is to marry a rich guy and retire, and that's it. But then when they get strained on the island, it is the guy who seemed to oppose that lifestyle now becomes a prostitute for a living, now has to perform certain sexual favors in order to get food and whatnot. So yeah, the whole role reversal thing, I understand. The whole irony, I understand. But I don't think it's necessary to just lengthen the movie showing these few first scenes for 30 minutes. You could have done that in 5 to 10 minutes, and I think just as effectively. Of course, I am not a film producer. I do not know how this is all made, but by watching Lindsay Ellis and listening to, and Dan Olson is another person, listening to these people who actually studied the film industry and studied film criticism, I learned from them that some of the intuitive things that I used to always kind of be not sure about in the past, now I see that, well, yeah, there are certain standards that may or may not be followed in order to achieve certain effects. And I also have experience doing a lot of literary analysis on more professional level, quote unquote. So yeah, I am not a complete noob in this regard. So, and even if I wasn't, I think that you don't have to be an expert in order to see that a movie lacks value. And again, it's not about likes or dislikes. Like, you can like whatever, I can like whatever. I do enjoy some questionable content that may not be very philosophical and of the highest quality out there. But if you have a 2.5 hour movie that is so heavily marketed as being leftist and anti-capitalist, and I don't know, maybe it was just the circles where I run and where people thought it was anti-capitalist and a great satire. Maybe it wasn't advertised like this, I don't know. But having to spend 2.5 hours watching some of these convoluted scenes, I felt like I gained nothing. Like, it was not very entertaining, it was not thought provoking, it was disappointing and silly and left more questions than it had answers. And yeah, sometimes it's useful to have a movie where you will have a bunch of open ended questions imposed onto you, and you are left there sitting and pondering over them. But in here, like, the question of human nature is really something I wish we stopped talking about. Like, there is no human nature. That's the end of it. Like, you don't have to study sociology for years in order to understand that. You can be a layperson and see in your day-to-day lives and experiences that there is no set human nature. Everything is fluid and everything changes, and people act according to their circumstances, and it's not because they're evil or greedy or whatever. Let's just get this out of the way. Talking about the things I enjoyed in this movie, I did greatly enjoy the scenes of the rich people getting seasick and just vomiting everywhere, and those scenes were just hilarious to me. And maybe it is Schadenfreude or whatever that is called, but I thought those scenes were funny. Like, there were a few of those, and when this hand grenade was thrown onto the deck, and those supposed weapon manufacturers who made their fortune off of creating weapons to kill people, they pick it up and they're just like, oh, isn't it one of ours? Like, yeah, that was a funny moment, that was a funny joke. But apart from that, this movie was really a waste of time. I do not recommend it to anyone, and of course I've already kind of spoiled it all, so if you haven't watched it, you're probably not going to be able to enjoy it, because I told you some of the key elements of it. If you did enjoy the movie, tell me why. Maybe there's something I didn't pay attention to. Maybe there is a kind of hidden social commentary. So yeah, you can let me know. I am still firmly in my position that this movie is just not a very high value movie, and it is not really worth wasting your time on. I think that this was kind of an interesting idea, an interesting project to begin with, but the creators of the movie, I don't think they were certain themselves of what it is they wanted to show, because it doesn't seem like it has a full-on, complete, like, ideological stance on, the way humans interact. And I wish so much they did, because there was potential. The movie definitely had potential, but in the end, I think it ended up being a flop. So have a good day. I'll talk to you later.